Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to In the Scope. And today we're going to take a look at Rainbow Six Extraction, and we're going to try and answer that question: is it worth it? Is it good? Is it bad? How did Ubisoft do with this new PvE style Rainbow Six? So yeah, let's take a look at it and see what we got here. We're going to take a look at just the base game, really. We are not going to really take a look at the end game. We'll save that for a separate video, but let's decide, is this something that is worth your time? So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so with Rainbow Six Extraction, there's some good things and some bad things. In my opinion, the good things, there's a long list of good things, and I've got a short list of not so good things. But for the most part, I got definitely a longer list of good things. So yeah, so let's jump into it. So first off, I think this game looks great. The graphics are very clean. The UI is good. It feels like a complete game. And I know a lot of you guys are going to agree with me that a lot of games ship these days and they don't feel complete. This to me feels like a complete game. It plays well. It feels like it plays, it feels good. And you don't see a lot of a lot of clipping or stuttering or anything like that in the gameplay. So I think they did a pretty good job. There's first and foremost, it looks and feels good. And with that comes the gunplay. If you've played Siege, then you're really familiar with this gunplay, and it feels really good. The guns feel like they do on Siege. They feel good to shoot. They feel good to handle. They don't feel awkward or clunky or, like you're missing all your shots. The recoil pattern is very predictable and pretty realistic for a lot of these guns. So I think they did a really good job. They definitely nailed the gunplay. Now, is it fun? I'm personally having a fucking blast playing this game. To me, it's a lot of fun. One of the things about Siege is it was intense. Like if you're down 1v3, and you're defending or whatever in Siege, to me, it's intense. There's very few games that give you that level of intensity and anxiety, and you're like, oh shit, and your whole team's watching you, and it's you just don't get that heightened level of intensity in a lot of games, but Siege does that. Probably the best game out of that I've played that gives you that feeling. But Extraction does a really good job of that too. And whenever you're surrounded by aliens, they're rushing you, one of the aliens has howled and alerted everybody, and they're all coming at you. And, you have to make that decision. Do I finish the objective? Do I get to Extraction? My teammate's about to go down on the left, and, Extraction's on the right. And do I go left or right? Do I leave my buddy because you don't want to lose your operator? It gets very intense in my opinion, and it's a lot of fun. It makes for a very fun gameplay. Me and my friends definitely had some back and forth about some decisions that were made, because it's easy, when you're down and you're watching your buddy's screen, to be like, why didn't you just do that? And it's you're like, damn, why didn't you? You were down, come on, don't put it all on me. But it definitely gives you that rush, and that is what heightens the fun level of this game for me, is that rush that you get when shit's going crazy and you got to make a decision. Is it the right decision? I don't know, but that's the fun of it. And that brings me to the difficulty. To me, this game has it's difficult. It is definitely difficult, especially on the higher, levels of difficulty. The first one, the cautious difficulty level, that's not that bad. Even the second one's not that bad. When you get to the third, the severe, and then the fourth one, man, it gets crazy, and it really punishes you for your mistakes. That on top of the fact that there's very little ammo, there's very little health kits. It's intense, and it's difficult. And then you throw in, the Apex aliens and the tormentors, and they can really, really fuck your shit up. They can make it really, really hard. You're playing the game and everything's going good. Somebody gets alerted, some tormentors fucking come in, and the next thing you know, you're getting your shit pushed in. And it makes for a very, very fun gameplay, because I find it pretty difficult. But that just adds to it. That just makes it more fun. You can always play on the easiest difficulty, but of course, more experience, you want to pump up that difficulty, and it definitely rewards you for it, but also it's challenging. It's very difficult. and completing all three objectives on the hardest difficulty really requires some good teamwork. And I like that this is a good team-based game. Doing it by yourself seems nearly impossible on the hardest difficulties. So I've enjoyed that that it's difficult and it's hard, and that just makes it better. Nobody wants to play an easy game that you can just breeze through, or at least I don't. All right, so that brings us to, okay, so the point that I didn't know, going in was how this injured operator and MIA operator mechanic was going to work. And wow, oh shit, that's crazy, because it really makes you use quite a few of the operators, because if they're injured, you don't want to take them in because you're just, you're starting off on the wrong foot there. And the fact that if they're injured too much, then you can't select them at all. And so really it's a mechanic that forces you to use lots of different operators, which is cool, because it adds diversity to the game. And, I'm using people that I may not have, used, like Ella, for instance. I wouldn't have probably used Ella, but I've got a couple levels in her just because I needed to use somebody to get some HP back on my main operator, so why not? And so that definitely adds that level of varying gameplay and diversity to the game, where there's a mechanic that's in the game that's making you run through the operators. And I mean, it may seem frustrating at times where you're like, man, I just want to use my guy, but in the long run, I think it adds to the length of the game, and it adds to the replayability of it. The fact that you need to use other operators, like we talked about in a previous video. That's the importance of having a nice wide roster where you have several different people leveled up, because you're going to need that. You can't just rely on one or two operators, because they're going to be either injured or they're going to be MIA. So, and then the MIA mechanic, that's fucking nuts. So it's crazy that you lose a chunk of XP. Like, it'll drop you a level and or half a level just when you lose that XP because you fail to extract and you lose your operator. I think that's a really nice touch. It's a really cool mechanic that it's almost like permadeath in some games, but not really, because you do get them back, but you lose so much that it's not even it's worth it to go back after them. And so that's a nice touch. And it makes you have to use other operators when you go save those operators. And it's the way that they set up the MIA operators. It's really organic, to like just go in and have it be one of the objectives, save your operator, extract them, move on. That's not the sole thing you're doing. You still get XP, you still get HP. So it's a very organic way to have a nice mechanic where it adds some intensity to the gameplay, because I'm not gonna lie, like, my friends were like, how the hell you gonna leave us? And I'm like, I gotta save my operator. So like, you're down way over there, you're surrounded by tormentors and shit. Extraction's right here. I'm a team player, don't get me wrong, but shit, I gotta save my operator. I got 2 HP. I'm going to go ahead and extract. We'll come back for your guy later. So they was giving me some shit for that, but it is what it is. You have to make those hard decisions, and I made it, and it's whatever. You got to do what you got to do. So don't knock it until you're in that situation, for sure. So going back to saving your operators and stuff, that goes to the progression. And to me, the progression, it feels super meaningful. The perks that you get when you level up your operators, more damage resistance, you upgrade their abilities, like Sledge, for instance. I love Sledge. I've been using him. And as you level him up, your charged hammer swing can stun more and more difficult enemies, all the way up to the end where you can stun smashers and stuff. And that's super useful, especially when you increase that swing speed too. So like, leveling up these operators seems it's very important, and it's very meaningful. And it gives you a real reason to want to max out these operators, because those perks like the damage resistance and more speed and things like that, you're going to need those for the end game. So you don't just feel like you're just maxing out characters just to max out characters. You feel like you're maxing them out because you're going to need to, and because, in my opinion, upgrading their abilities and their perks and everything, it's really worth it. It's worth it to max out these characters. So I definitely like the progression system. They max out at level 10. I don't know if I don't know if I would have made that a higher level. It seems level 10's kind of short, but I mean, there are quite a few operators to start off with. So getting all of them to level 10, will take some time. It just seems like kind of a low number, but I mean, it is what it is. And it did take, it took a few days to get my sledge to level 10. So yeah, in another video, we'll kind of go over, some level 10 operators, what their perks are, and see kind of if it's worth it per operator to get them to level 10, if the perks you get and the advancements on their abilities are actually worth it. But yeah, Sledge got him to level 10, my first one, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. So yeah, progression feels pretty good. Level design, so you have 4 locations, 3 maps in each location, 3 subzones in each map. So it is very varied and very varied. Wow. And it's in the layout of these maps. You have a wide range, and none of the maps feel the same. They all feel different. They look different. They play different. And then when you throw in the randomness of the enemy spawns and where all the enemies are at, just to start with, and where the extraction is and the airlock and everything, it adds to a lot of replayability, and it's nice. It's just nice not to drop into the same map every time, or the same couple maps. I know there's not a lot of maps because, there's 4 locations, 3 maps, so that's not a lot. But when you add in the randomization of it all, I think it's pretty good. Would I like to see more maps? Of course. Do I hope they come out with more maps? Definitely. I mean, hell yeah. But in the meantime, for the base game starting out, the maps that they have, in my opinion, are pretty decent. You have options. You have a lot of options, and you add in the difficulties, which increase the enemy spawns. Then it makes it so no, at least for me, no 2 times that I've gone in have played exactly the same. So that makes it, to me, that makes it better. It makes for a more varied gameplay. It makes for fun times. So level design, I think they did a pretty good job. So those are the good things that I found about the base game, just the 4 starting areas and all the subzones, not getting into the assignments, or the end game really yet. So those are the good parts of the base game that I think that everyone's kind of been playing it has experienced. And those are the things I've really enjoyed about it. And so then you say, is it really worth the money for the base game? And to that, I say it's fucking free on Game Pass. I didn't know it was going to be free on Game Pass, so I pre-ordered it. But I mean, to be honest, I would have, that's no big deal. I would have pre-ordered it anyway. I like the cosmetics that you get from pre-ordering, so that's no big deal. But it is free on Game Pass, so get in there and play it, because if you're wondering, is it worth it? I mean, it's fucking free. So you might as well get in there and have a blast playing it, playing Rainbow Six Extraction, killing these fucking aliens and seeing how hard it is and how your team can do. Because why not? What have you got to lose at this point? It's a fun game. So that brings us to the bad shit. Well, at least the things that I didn't like about it. So really, it's only 3 things for real. Number 1, when you're reviving your teammates, there seems to be some sort of a bug or something when you fill up the little wheel and you're holding the button, it fills it up, but then it just makes you stop reviving, but it doesn't actually get the person up. And that just seems like a little glitch, really. And it really kind of fucks you sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment and shit's rushing at you and you need to get this revive off. It kind of sucks when it happens. So I hope maybe they figure out what the deal is with that, because they patch it, because that kind of sucks. It's not a game breaking deal, or it's not a deal breaker. It doesn't break the game or anything, but it's just kind of annoying when it happens. So I hope that they fix that little thing. Gameplay wise, that was really the only thing I could find that I, had to complain about for real. And then that brings us to matchmaking, and matchmaking can be good and bad, and it's the same bad in every game. And that's when you get matched up with just some total guys that are just, they just don't understand what's going on. So, they jump in, they immediately start shooting shit. They alert the entire damn map. And before you can even find out where the first objective is, and it's annoying. It's annoying for sure. So, I mean, but that's kind of the matchmaking problem in every game that matchmakes. And then the saving grace of this is at least it's an option. You don't have to matchmake. The enemies scale by the level of players in it, so it's not, so it's still doable to do it with just two people if if you need that third or whatever. So playing with matchmaking, it's hit and miss. But it's a problem in any game that has matchmaking. It's nothing specific to this game. So take it or leave it. As that's what I do. I just try and have a full squad because you need the communication, you need the teamwork, you need everyone to be on the same page for this game, especially at the harder difficulties. So when you get some dumbass in there who just starts firing his gun into the air and shit, you're just like, yeah, if you go down, I won't be saving you. And that's how you have to roll with it. All right, and then the last thing I think is the objectives. I would like more objectives. They're very different. They're executed very well. There's some I hate, like the serial scan. I can't stand that objective. But then there's some some that are fun. So I like that it's random. You don't know what you're going to get till you jump in. So that's a nice point. I just wish there was a little bit more on the objective side because it just seems like there's not a lot of variety with the objectives, but the objectives that they do have, they do really well. So it's not a case of needing to improve on what they have. They just need to, they just need a little bit more variety, and that could come in a later, DLC, later patch. So I hope that is the case. Because I could see that's probably where this game would get stale first, is just replaying the same objective. Even though the levels are varied and everything like that, it's still the same objective. So they maybe could throw in some more objectives, and I think that would definitely help with the longevity of this game. But I mean, really, those are the only bad things with the base game that I have to really to harp on, for real. Like, other than that, I'm still having a ton of fun playing this game. After this video, I'm gonna go play this game again. It's having a lot of fun, and get my next operator to max level and jump into these assignments and see what that's about. So yeah, I think overall out of 10, I'd say I'm gonna give this game like a 7 out of 10. It's a lot of fun. It does a lot of things right, and I'm not disappointed in the least bit. A couple things need tweaked, but no disappointment here. It's definitely a solid game, and the fact that it's free on Game Pass, 7 out of 10 for sure. Jump on, get into this game, and have a good time. Get your buddies together and see who gets left behind. Hopefully, no man left behind is the goal, but damn, it doesn't always work out that way, and you'll be pissed when it doesn't, especially if it's your operator that's MIA. All right, guys. Well, that's kind of my base game review. Like I said, we're going to do some more videos. We're going to talk about assignments, and we're going to talk about the end game, and then we're going to talk about, getting max level operators and which ones are worth it, and what the perks, what you get out of them, and how they work. So yeah, stay tuned. We're definitely going to talk about that. We got a lot more to talk about with Extraction. We're just getting into it for real, and yeah, we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to have a lot of fun. As always, I appreciate everyone that subscribed. You guys are awesome. Great support and everything. And I think I'm going to do a giveaway soon. I've been wanting to do one, and I think I'm going to have to give something away because just, for the people that subscribed and stuff, because, I like that you guys are showing your support, and, I'm like super new at doing this. So it's a lot of fun. I'm having a great time, and I'm all for, giving back. And I definitely like to do a giveaway here soon. And I'm going to have to talk to my buddies and decide and see what would be good to give away for subscribers, just to give something back, and, just to show that, I see you guys supporting me, and I appreciate it. So, hey, if you're new here, you want to keep up with the Rainbow Six Extraction content, then definitely appreciate it if you subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned for future videos. All right, later.